It's been a rocky debut for Coinbase shares since their IPO in the middle of April. You can see the volatility right at the start. And since then, the share price has been under pressure. So what does this mean? Are we getting close to a base for the shares, or actually are there further falls to come? We don't have that much data for Coinbase, of course, because it's only been trading since the 14th of April. So the first day of trading, in the first hour, that's pretty much as high as it got, $428 a share, $428 a share. But just this week, perhaps pressurized by the falls we've seen in cryptocurrencies, they traded as low as $205 a share. So what next for Coinbase? Are we going to see some sort of stability coming into the price and a recovery from here? Or actually, can we expect this downtrend to continue? I'll talk about some of the recent news around Coinbase, then we'll come back and look at things in a bit more detail. Hello, I'm David Jones from Capital.com, and I thought this time around, given the volatility we're seeing in cryptocurrencies over the last few days, we'll take a look at Coinbase, the recently listed crypto exchange, crypto trading platform. So as usual, in this video, I'll talk a bit about some of the recent history for Coinbase, perhaps what their challenges are, then we'll jump back onto the platform and take a quick look at the charts. Obviously, we don't have that much data. It's only been trading for just over a month, but we'll take a look at what we do have. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, if you could click on subscribe, it does help support the channel and means we can continue to push out lots of content during the week on individual stocks. Right, let's get into it and take a look at Coinbase in a bit more detail. So as I said, it's a trading platform for cryptocurrencies. It's high profile because I think it's one of the first ones to IPO, of course, to float on the stock market. So now investors can buy shares in Coinbase. So it came to the market only on the 14th of April. And as is often the case with IPOs, we saw massive volatility just on that first day of trading. So the stock price did trade as high as $428 on the day and as low as $306. So really a massive range on the first day of trading. But since then, the performance hasn't been particularly good. Just this week, we've seen it fall to its lowest price ever. I mean, it's only been listed for 5 weeks, but it did trade as low as $205 a share. I think clearly being pushed down as well by what we saw going on with cryptocurrencies, with the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the others getting heavily hit. That's also put some pressure on the Coinbase price, which was already sliding anyway. Its first quarter results were positive on the face of it. Net revenues of 1.6 billion. That was more than triple the revenues in the previous quarter. You know, clearly, I think with cryptocurrencies booming, businesses like Coinbase should do well because they're going to see more activity. But that's also the risk, I think, from an investor's point of view. If we did see, let's say we saw a prolonged fall in cryptos, reversing some of the recent gains that have been made over the last sort of 8 months or so. If we saw a drop off in cryptos, perhaps we would see less people being involved and trading in the crypto space if the price was falling. And that's clearly going to have an impact on what is effectively a broker or an exchange like Coinbase. So that is the risk. It's one way, an alternative way of gaining exposure to the cryptocurrency space, but the risk is if interest drops off, we go through a quiet period, you'd expect the Coinbase shares to get hit even further. Let's talk about some of the levels to watch. I think perhaps the immediate resistance on the upside is around $250 a share, the highs from just a few days ago. And we are, like I said, we've only got a few weeks worth of data, of course, because it's only been trading since mid-April, but the trend overall is still down. So they are under some pressure. So the levels to watch on the downside could be interesting. The first of these, I think, is the low hit so far, $205 a share. So we did see something of a bounce ahead of that $200 psychological level. So that could be an area to watch over the next few days to see if they can attempt to build some sort of a base, or are we going to see them slide further? Let's take a quick look at the charts. If we look at the daily chart for Coinbase, you can see there's not a lot to go on from a technical analysis point of view. So this might be quite a short chart video. Let's flip it over to an hourly chart. But you can see just how weak they are. It was only a couple of days ago they moved to their lowest since the IPO. So they've more than halved since that high hit on the first day of trading. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. So this is the hourly chart. going back to the middle of April when they first started trading. I think we could pick up on a trend. I think probably the trend is the sensible thing to focus on here. If we ignore the first couple of hours of volatility, you can see the trend when things calmed down from the 16th of April. That trend is still down. You know, we've got lower highs, lower lows. It did gap lower on the 19th of May this week. I think with that sell-off in cryptos, you know, like I said, I think if there is a change in sentiment towards cryptocurrencies, the risk is we'd see that filter through to Coinbase. And we did see the shares gap lower on the 19th, opening at 211 a share after closing previous day at 236. I suppose, you know, some people, if they were looking to pick a bottom down here, could be tempted to be a buyer to see if the $200 level ends up being some sort of psychological support. But from a pure technical analysis point of view, you know, it needs to rally through 280 to shake off this weakness, to break this downtrend. And 280, while it's a long way away, it's $50 away from where we're trading now. We've only got to go back a week to see the stock at that level. So I think in a few weeks' time, a few months' time, when we've got a bit more data about Coinbase, we can do a bit more of an in-depth chart analysis on it. But for now, the data we have, that trend is still down. I think that a technical analysis approach would be expecting any rallies to run into trouble for sellers to come back in, and we really need to see a break through 280 to suggest that downtrend is actually over. Let's see how the next few weeks are for Coinbase and come back and look at it in a bit more detail. That's it for Coinbase. We'll come back to it in the future when we've got a bit more history and we'll see what the outlook is like then. But for now, from me, David Jones and Capital.com, good luck with your trading and investing. For more trading videos just like this, please subscribe to our channel.